Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Kyle Henderson and Tony Tsoukalas, our BamaInsider.com top 40. We're at number 2 on our countdown. It's Jaylen Waddle, one of the most explosive and dynamic players in all of college football, back for his junior campaign. Tony, I mean, you got to be super excited if you're an Alabama fan to get Jaylen Waddle back this coming season. So much to be talked about with Jaylen Waddle. Let's just jump right into it. Last year, 13 games, 33 receptions, 560 yards with 6 touchdowns. That's not enough. This guy needs the football. How do you think Steve Sarkisian is going to make sure that he gets the football in 2020?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. So when you look at the stats, right, he was the 4th receiver last year. So why is he number 2 on our list? It's just look at what he can do with the ball in his hands, or just his playmaking ability in general. And look what he did in that Auburn game where he just tore Auburn apart. I think you're going to see Jaylen Waddle unleashed this season. I think you're going to find ways to get him the ball. You can run him on jet sweeps. You can, obviously use him in the special teams. He's the best special teams player in the nation. And then just, I think he's going to be tremendously beneficial to the progression of Mac Jones and Bryce Young. He's a guy that you just get him the ball one way or another, and he'll juke people out and make plays for you. He's instant offense. He's lightning in a bottle. I cannot wait to see this guy play, and that's why we have him at number 2, just because he can impact the game, in so many different levels, and you never know when he's going to just take it to the house in any form. It's special teams, offense, just shoot, line him up at wildcat quarterback or something, and just let him sprint to the edge. I mean, sometimes when he gets the ball, it just seems like no one can stop him.
Yeah, and that's something that I had been harping on. I know Slade Bolden, the Slade Cat. I like it. I like the name, and he's the guy. But Jaylen Waddle, Wildcat, could be straight nasty. Could you imagine back there? I mean, that would be dangerous. Maybe it'll come.
We saw. One of the things that kind of got unnoticed on that Wildcat package, sometimes Jaylen Waddle was a running back. You saw it a couple of times. Slade Bolden was the Wildcat quarterback, but I think that wrinkle might not be too far-fetched. I think you might see him even maybe getting some plays out of the backfield in certain, trick packages and stuff. I just think there's going to be a big focus to get Jaylen Waddle the ball. I think we're all going to benefit because we're going to get to see it.
Yeah, I think when you look back at the stats, and you mentioned it, I mean, he only touched the ball, get this, twice against Michigan. But then you go to the game before that against Auburn. He completely took over. I mean, Tony and I are both there. We're Jordan-Hare Stadium, and Jaylen Waddle just takes it to another level. I felt at that time he was the best player in college football. I mean, just what he's able to do, his acceleration, his power, the ability to just be a game changer, return to kick in that game. And he's one of those players that I think if Alabama really needs somebody to really step up, he showed he could be that guy. You're seeing a lot of alpha mentality. I can just see it when I look in his eyes during these videos that have been circulating on social media. I mean, the route running ability, I think, is at an all-time high for him. Dude is ripped. He's coming back with I feel something to prove. In 2018, he had 45 receptions for 848 yards and 7 touchdowns. Career-wise, 28 games played, 78 receptions, 1,400 yards, 13 touchdowns. Punt returns, 36 punt returns, 720 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I mean, Tony, you already said it. I mean, this is the most dynamic guy from an offensive side, but also special teams wise. I mean, it's like every single time he catches a punt, you almost hold your breath, right?
Right. I mean, there's times when, he's completely stopped. I mean, look at the LSU game. The guy grabbed his face mask. I mean, any other person goes flying to the turf and he shakes him off and then goes for a score. There's been some talk of will he be the punt returner next year? Because, do you want to risk, him to injury? Because he's going to be so impactful on this offense. I say you have to let him do special teams just because that's such a weapon. Whether or not teams will kick to him, that's a different story. But just having him back there, I think you can't take that away. I mean, that's one of the most electrifying plays. When it's him in the special teams, you can score at any moment when you force a team to punt. So I personally think he keeps that punt return role. And like I said, Alabama's just going to try to get him the ball in as many forms as possible.
So Tony's had the rankings for the top 40 players. Tony, you have him at number 2. How many touches for Jaylen Waddle this year? 33 last year, 45 the year before. You thinking 65 touches over under? What's your take on?
Yeah, I kind of actually expect him to be, nothing against Devontae Smith. I expect him to be Alabama's lead receiver, and I expect him to do a lot of stuff with him early on. We'll see how progressed Mac is. I kind of, after seeing that Michigan game, it seems like he's going to be clicking on all cylinders. But, if there's some rust, or if they want to break him in slowly, or who knows, maybe even if Bryce Young comes in, I could see a lot of short passes to Waddle, those quick slants, get the ball out quick and just like let him do the rest. You could see that with him. But I also think that, obviously you saw during the Auburn game, he had the ability to go up and get it and get the ball. So he'll be a threat both in the slot and you could even work him outside. I think, if you're talking about 60 receptions, that's not out of the question at all.
What do you guys think in the comment box? We want to hear from you. How many touches total for Jaylen Waddle in 2020? And also just post your overall excitement for Jaylen Waddle. I mean, you're talking about, in my opinion, the most dangerous player in all of college football returning for 2020. For Tony Tsoukalas and Kyle Henderson, Inch and 2, number 1 right here on BamaInsider.com. Stay tuned.